Imagine your normal high school day, basketball practice, rivalries, and a simple crush. Now, imagine it gone. A monstrous force has ripped Tokyo apart. Beneath the dust of an unprecedented earthquake, something alien and terrifying has emerged. Your name is Takashiro. Your friend, Eiji, is already gone, and the only proof you have is a severed arm, wearing the same wristband Miku gave you both. Survival is no guarantee. Every shadow hides a creature with tentacles, and a towering giant stalks the city. Can you find Miku before the horror finds you? The story begins in Tokyo, Japan. It is a peaceful city with a big high school. Inside the school training ground, students play basketball. A boy named Takashiro runs with the ball. He is full of energy. He goes toward the goal. His teammates tell him to score quickly. Takashiro dodges some players and keeps his eyes on the goal. The coach watches them. Suddenly another player runs forward and steals the ball from Takashiro. He tells him he is still a kid. This boy's name is Eij. In 1 second, Eiji takes the ball and runs to the other side. He throws the ball into the net. He laughs at Takashiro. The other students cheer because Eiji scores a good goal. They also say that with Eiji, they can join the inter-high school competition. Takashiro looks at Eiji and thinks he is the main player of the team. He feels that he is only filling a spot. After the last goal, the coach says practice is over for the day. He tells them to be ready for the tournament in 3 days. They leave the ground and go to the cafeteria to eat. Their next class is math. Before class, they talk about the school trip. One of them says that this time the school trip goes to Kyoto. The other boys say it is boring. A boy named Makakin says he wants to go abroad. The boys play a game together. A classmate tells Makakin he cannot go abroad. Kochin jokes that maybe he can go if he wins a lottery. While they play, Takashiro gets an email on his phone. He becomes surprised. The email is from Miku. She says she is on a school trip and sends him a picture. She asks him to guess where she is. When he opens the picture, he sees Miku's selfie before the Tokyo Tower. He is shocked because Miku is in Tokyo. His heart becomes happy. Suddenly Eiji comes from behind and drops his arms on Takashiro's shoulder. He asks what Takashiro is doing. He suggests they walk for afternoon practice. Eiji suddenly sees the email on Takashiro's phone. And tell that he also gets the same email. Miku tells them she is in Tokyo for a field trip. Another boy says that Takashiro and Eiji look like brothers. Takashiro becomes angry and says they are not brothers, they are more like enemies. But Eiji laughs and says they are like brothers because they grow up together. Their classmate also notices both of them wear the same wristband. Takashiro says someone gave them the same wristbands. Eiji says it is impossible for him to get a gift from Miku and not wear it. He mutters there is something special, that's why she gave the same wristbands to both of them. Takashiro says Miku is always spontaneous. Eiji opens his phone and says there is no strange meaning behind it. He checks Miku's email. She says they will stay in Tokyo until tomorrow. She also says that if they have time, all 3 of them should meet. Takashiro feels strange because to her, all 3 boys are the same. All of a sudden, a girl walks past them with a serious face. Takashiro becomes surprised. Her name is Shirasaki. She asks them to move and walks through the middle of them. Takashiro watches her. Eiji says that the girl, her classmate, is scary. Takashiro tells she is Tei student council member. Eiji says she walks alone and does not talk to boys. That is why she ignores them. Soon it is afternoon. Takashiro and Eiji go to the training space. They are surprised because the room is empty. Eiji suggests they play a one-on-one match. Before they start, the coach arrives. He says it is good they came for extra practice. He tells them that Tanaka has influenza, so he cannot join the tournament. The coach says Takashiro will play as the starter in his place. Takashiro becomes very happy. The coach says they will talk about it in detail after school and walks away. Eiji hits Takashiro on the back and tells him he finally did it. He says it is a blessing from God. He tells him to be happy because his hard work finally pays off. Now they only need to win the next match with full power and score many points for the upcoming tournament. After that, they must confess to Miku. Takashiro becomes shocked. Eiji tells him not to act shy. He says they both have loved Miku since childhood. 2 years ago she moved away, and they never confessed. If they keep waiting, someone else may take her. He then says to Takashiro that from now on they will become rivals. Takashiro looks at Eiji's back with wide eyes. He thinks Eiji is always ahead of him. But now they stand on the same line. They shake hands. Takashiro says he will not lose to Eiji this time. Eiji smiles and shows his teeth. Takashiro looks at him with the same confidence. They prepare to start their match. Takashiro says he will go get a ball first. He enters the ball storage room. He stops for a moment and remembers the old days when Eiji used to tease him and Miku. Now he feels their future will be different. After a while he notices the roof starts shivering, and so on the whole building gradually starts shaking. An earthquake begins and it becomes very strong. All buildings shake fast. After some time as the earthquake settles we see the things fall everywhere. Inside the room, items fall to the floor. Takashiro also seemed to be beneath some luggage. Fortunately he is alive and mutters something. When he opens his eyes, he feels pain because of an injury at forehead. He cannot understand where he is. Then he remembers he came to the storage room to get a ball. Suddenly the earthquake hit. For the first time, he feels like he lost consciousness. When he tries to move, he sees a cupboard above his head. He wonders how long he has been lying there. He notices the door of the room is slightly open and dark outside. He hears strange chewing sounds outside. Blood runs down his forehead. He looks through the door gap. He sees a hand in the darkness. The hand wears a wristband. He thinks it is Eiji's hand. Behind the hand, he hears chewing sounds. Blood is around the arm. Takashiro becomes afraid. He kicks the door, falls back, and his eyes stay open in fear. Anyhow he gathers his courage and looks again. This time he hears the same chewing noise and does not see anything beyond the arm and blood. From the darkness, he sees alien-like tentacles. They quickly move toward him. He screams and quickly shuts the door. He drags a basket of basketballs and blocks the door. The chewing sounds become louder. But Takashiro puts all his effort into stopping them. The tentacles vigorously hit the door from the other side. They try to open it. Takashiro uses all his strength to hold the basket against the door. He does not understand what is happening. He feels pushed on the other side of the door. His legs shake with extreme fear. He pushes more heavy things in front of the door and sits silently. His whole body trembles. He wonders what is happening in the world. He thinks whose arm it was. Maybe it was Eiji's arm. But he refuses to believe it. Someone else may have the same wristband. He cannot accept that Eiji might be dead. He knows he cannot stay here forever. He opens the door a little and looks outside. He decides he must take his phone quietly and run toward the exit. It should take him less than 10 seconds. He opens the door and runs out sharply. As he grabs his phone, unfortunately his phone alarm rings loudly. The sound echoes in the hallway. He cannot turn it off. Because of the alarm, many tentacles come toward him. He sees them and freezes. Thick spit drips from their mouths. They chase him but he runs as fast as he can. The tentacles also move fast behind him. He screams loudly while running. Fortunately he reaches a door and crosses it quickly. He locks it from the other side. But the tentacles break the door glass and invade through the broken window, and chase Takashiro again. Takashiro shrieks weirdly and runs into a dark hallway. He suddenly trips over something and unluckily falls. He turns and looks behind him. He shines his phone torch to see from where he stumbled on. In the next moment he gets shocked as he sees a severed head. He moves the light farther and sees more heads. He watches bodies brutally chewed and cut in half. He sees legs and arms on the floor. Unwantedly he screams weirdly. Fearfully, he covers his mouth and screams silently. They are all dead. He cannot believe it. Suddenly someone moves ahead in the dark and grabs his hand from the darkness. Takashiro becomes scared. A boy with glasses asks for help. Takashiro sees he is alive. But the boy says he cannot move his legs. He asks Takashiro to check if something is stuck on them because he cannot move legs. Takashiro shines the light. He sees tentacles eating the boy's legs. The flesh is already gone and only bone remains. The tentacles chew his flesh. Tears fill Takashiro's eyes. The boy speaks weakly and dies. Takashiro runs forward in panic. Fear takes over his body but he keeps running as fast as he can. Sadly enough, more tentacles come from the other side. He looks for another path. He sees stairs. He shines the light and runs up. Everything is dark over there. He does not understand what kind of disaster this is. While running he remembers Eiji, how they both played and laughed together. But suddenly the severed arm comes to his mind and he cries in fear. Tears fall fast and he weeps bitterly. In this situation only he can understand who lost his childhood friend. He stands near a wall and cries. Suddenly he sees a PSP video game and on the other side he finds Makikin. Blood comes from his mouth. He gets stunned and becomes heartbroken. He believes if Miku is dead the others would have also died. He covers his mouth and cries again. All of a sudden he hears a faint "Help, help." He looks fast and shines the torch towards the voice. Under a pile of bodies, a head moves and asks for help. Takashiro gets amazed. He quickly goes there. A girl tries to get up, bowing down her head. She has bruises and dirty clothes. She seems extremely scared. Takashiro becomes shocked when he sees she is Shirasaki. He asks if she is okay. She jumps at him in fear. She asks why this is happening. She says Yuki, Sayumi, and the others are dead. She weirdly asks if he knows why they died. She says the demonic monster ate them and to save herself she had to hide among their bodies. She becomes wild because of fear. Takashiro calms her and makes her sit against the wall. Shirasaki cries hard. She says they must escape soon because she cannot stay here long. Suddenly many tentacles come toward her. Takahiro silently notices them and grabs her shoulder. He pushes her forward. At the same moment, the monster throws things towards them. They barely survive. He tells her to run. They run down the corridor. They run at full speed but suddenly stop when they hear a strange sound. Both get stunned. Takashiro says it seems an earthquake is coming again. They hurriedly run toward a door. And feels the sound becomes louder. They run toward the exit, also the piercing growling sound is increasing rapidly. The sound above becomes stronger and they shriek weirdly. Unfortunately before they can exit a huge stem-like creature breaks through the ceiling and falls to the floor. The explosion throws both of them outside. Dust and debris fill the air. After a moment, Takashiro opens his eyes. He sees a giant monster's foot break the roof and hits the ground. Takashiro understands that their future is now completely different. The monster rises to its feet, and the broken pieces of the building slide down around it. Thick tentacles cling to its body. Takashiro and Shirasaki sit frozen on the ground, shaking with fear. Both cover their heads. Takashiro closes his eyes, convinced the end has come. He calls Saki to get up but the creature simply moves past them. The monster continues toward the city, crushing everything in its path. They hide behind a pillar and watch as destruction spreads through the streets. Shirasaki mutters they need to get away. Takashiro tries to contact someone, then remembers he left a friend at the gym. For a moment he hopes Eiji might still be alive, but the memory of Eiji's severed arm hits him again. He checks his phone, but the battery is dead. Shirasaki checks her own phone, yet there is no signal. Both are shocked because they are out in the open. Takashiro runs toward the gym, but Shirasaki calls out that monsters still wander around the school and will kill him. He stops, and the image of the bodies he saw when he used his flashlight returns to him. Shirasaki tells him gently that Eiji is gone. Tears rise in Takashiro's eyes. The thought of Eiji and what he will tell Miku crushes him. He sobs bitterly. Dust and debris is all around. After a while, they finally walk out of the school. But the moment they reach the road, their eyes widen. The entire city lies in ruin. The question that strikes them is how a giant monster reached the city so fast. They notice a girl far in the distance. She runs toward them, calling for help. In the next moment, her upper body is sliced apart. A massive creature with a bubbly skeleton and a sharp arm tears straight through her. Takashiro grabs Shirasaki's hand and pulls her away. Tentacles rise across the street, dragging people to their deaths. The same horror they saw at school is now spread through the entire city. They run toward the station's parking area and hide behind a pillar. Takashiro tries to stay quiet and hopes the tentacled monster does not follow them. He flashes his light behind him and spots two silhouettes. As he screams wildly, a boy warns him to lower his voice. A tall, rough-looking upperclassman stands there with a short, chubby boy. Takashiro recognizes the older one, Tadakoro from second year. Tadakoro also remembers him. Tadakoro wonders if anyone is still alive in the school but quickly gives up hope. With no phone signals and no help coming, he feels the world is collapsing. He then looks at Shirasaki and asks if she is the student council president. He jokes that the student Takashiro must have snuck out to have fun with the president. He introduces himself to Shirasaki, brushing off the blood on him, and mocks the chubby boy for not being handsome. Takashiro snaps at him for talking like this at such a moment. Tadakoro replies that they are all in the same danger. He explains how he remembered a teacher's instruction to stay silent during a 6-magnitude quake. Second-year students had been bullying the chubby boy earlier, pushing him outside even though he was terrified. Tadakoro promised to cover for him. The other students watched from inside as tentacles pounded on the glass. Strange shapes crawled inside and killed everyone without warning. Tadakoro's own friends died the same way. Tadakoro suddenly kicks the chubby boy again, blaming him for thinking only of saving himself. Takashiro yells at him to stop because this is not the time to fight. Tadakoro mutters he is already exhausted of him. Both oddly gaze at each other. The chubby boy breaks down and cries that he wants to go home. Tadakoro orders him to go alone if he wants, but Shirasaki steps forward and suggests they stay together and check each other's homes one by one. Tadakoro jokes about the serious president. The chubby boy explains that his house is just 10 minutes away. Takashiro responds that cooperation is almost impossible right now, but before the argument continues, a rotten smell fills the air. The same alien-like monster with a sharp arm appears behind them. All cover their noses. The chubby boy screams. The creature lunges at Takashiro, but Tadakoro hits the boy aside and shoves him away. All four sprint toward the street. The monster climbs after them at high speed, drooling thick slime from its mouth. The monster almost gets closer to them and the chubby boy screams again. Luckily, a speeding car suddenly crashes into the creature, giving them a short chance to escape. Takashiro looks back once, then rushes the others forward. Tadakoro asks the chubby to take them to his house first. They race through the alley and reach an apartment building with no electricity. As they stop, Tadakoro whispers that they might be lost. Tentacle noises echo outside. Tadakoro tries to guess what kind of creature he saw, maybe an alien. All became silent for a while. The chubby boy suddenly begins to laugh. He laughs hard, saying he has never heard of anything like this in his life. He claims he always waited for the day the world would change and punish those who bullied him. Now, he believes that day has come. He insists that everyone except him will die, that this is divine punishment. Takashiro becomes furious. He warns him not to speak like that. The boy continues, calling this a new beginning. Noise erupts from outside. Tadakoro kicks him hard out of anger. The boy falls back, and Tadakoro shouts that he might die because of this divine punishment too. The boy, terrified, backs away into a room and slams the door. It locks from inside. Tadakoro tries to open it without success. Shirasaki and Takashiro hear strange sounds traveling through the building. They run out and look up toward the fourth floor. The monster from before climbs the wall. Its huge mouth drips with foul slime. Fear freezes them. It sticks to the exterior wall right outside the room. Tadakoro whispers that this is the same monster from school and that another one must be fighting it for prey. Tentacles smash through the wall as the second monster enters the building. They rush toward the elevator, then toward the stairs. Shirasaki warns them to stay alert. The tentacled monster breaks through the inner wall, and both creatures clash inside the building. One of them turns toward Takashiro and Tadakoro with dead, cold eyes. Its body slams into the walls, and several corpses hang out from inside it. The group flees downward. Tadakoro mutters that he will deal with the boy who locked himself inside later. They reach the exit and step outside. Another tentacled beast appears, and they wonder how many more exist. They keep running at full speed. Takashiro says that they are not many. Only one giant monster roams this part of the city, smashing windows with long tentacles. A window shatters above them. Glass rains down, and they barely shield themselves. The monster drops something round from the roof and it falls near to them. Takashiro looks up. It is the severed head of the chubby boy who locked himself inside. All three run in horror. Tadakoro shouts for help, hoping someone might hear. As they pass a nearby house, Takashiro notices the sound of a television. He stops and listens. The news talks about a man and a woman bitten by a dog and declares there is no danger. Takashiro is stunned. The city is full of death, yet the news shows normal stories. Tadakoro decides he will go on alone. He glances at the screen and wonders if the news has mentioned the monsters at all. Takashiro confirms that nothing about the attack has aired. They look toward the city, where destruction continues. The police are not doing anything. Tadakoro checks phone signals but none. Shirasaki checks her phone again. Still no signal. She asks Takashiro about his phone. His battery is dead. Tadakoro throws him a power bank. Takashiro connects it and sees old messages from Miku, messages from before the monsters appeared. His heart tightens as he reads her words. Miku explains that everyone must have thought she went to Tokyo Tower, but she actually went to the Tachikawa station on her own because she had a free day. She dropped her friends off and came alone. The detail shocks Takashiro that Miku is still somewhere in this city. Takashiro stands in the alley with the others. He looks down at his phone in silence. Shirasaki notices and gently asks what happened. He tells her nothing is wrong and that he is only reading Miku's mail. A thought rises in him. Miku is still somewhere in this city. Tadakoro wonders if his phone has any signal. Takashiro checks and shakes his head. There is none. He wipes his face, then tells them they should head toward Tachikawa station. A childhood friend is there, and he must find her. Tadakoro's temper flares. His own life is on the line, and he cannot think about someone else's friend. Survival is all that matters to him. Takashiro tries to reason that they might catch a train from the station in this situation. Tadakoro grabs him by the collar. His voice rises as he challenges the idea. How could any train still run after all this? There might be even more monsters inside a crowded station. If Takashiro wants to die, he should go alone. Shirasaki steps in. She places a calm voice between them. She reminds Tadakoro that a defense base also exists in the city. Rescue teams will head toward areas with large groups of survivors. The station is still their best chance. Tadakoro listens carefully. Since the president says so, he will not argue. They decide to move. Takashiro adjusts his shirt and regains his breath. He thanks Shirasaki. Even in this chaos, her patience surprises him. Suddenly Tadakoro freezes. His eyes widen as he looks toward the roofs. A monster leaps from one house to another, heading straight toward them. It crosses the street in a blur. They sprint ahead as fast as they can. A long arm sweeps past Tadakoro, barely missing him. They slip into a narrow alley and keep running. Tadakoro calls it a stroke of luck. The creature lands on the roofs above them. It crushes tiles and walls as it jumps from house to house. The noise rips through the air. Takashiro and the others scream as the monster reaches the other end of the alley. Its tentacles slide over the corner. A slim side passage appears nearby. Takashiro signals to run toward it. Tadakoro shouts that the monster has chased them for too long. They rush out the other side and reach an open space. Takashiro curses their luck. Now the street is wide, and there is no cover. The monster lands behind them again. It tears through wires and smashes a whole building in one strike. It waves its tentacles ferociously. The ground trembles beneath their feet. Tadakoro and Takashiro drop to their knees as dust fills the air. For a moment, it feels like death stands over them. Takashiro keeps his eyes open, unable to look away from the destruction. A sharp scream rises behind them. A tentacle curls around Shirasaki's leg. She cries out as it drags her back. Tadakoro and Takashiro stare in horror. Takashiro's mind flashes to Eiji, his arm, his face. He springs forward, grabs a metal pipe lying nearby, and strikes the tentacle with all his strength. The pipe bends. The tentacle recoils and drops Shirasaki. Takashiro's voice breaks. He cannot watch someone die in front of him again. Shirasaki warns him to look behind him. Another tentacle shoots toward his chest. It slams into him and throws him through the air. He crashes on the ground far behind her. She rushes to check on him. The monster swings above them, its body hanging like a giant shadow. Terrified, they cover their eyes and scream. After a breathless second, Takashiro opens one eye. The creature does nothing. It simply moves past them. For a moment it stares at them and then swirls its tentacles and walks away. Its tentacles glide over the ground without touching them. The monster turns once more. Confusion strikes both Takashiro and Shirasaki. Why did it spare them? Dust shifts behind them. Tadakoro appears, still shaking. He cannot understand how they survived. During the attack he thought they were dead. Takashiro steadies his voice. This chance is a blessing. They must reach the station immediately. Shirasaki turns to him with gratitude. She thanks him for saving her. He tells her it was nothing. A sudden instinct took over, and he only reacted. Tadakoro cuts in sharply. This is no time to stand around. They must move. Takashiro looks at him, then tosses the bent pipe away. He asks where the station is. Before they take a step, Shirasaki pauses. Something feels wrong. Takashiro asks what she means. She explains that when he threw the pipe, it made no sound when it hit the ground. Tadakoro brushes it off. He wants to leave this place immediately. Takashiro stops him. He warns Tadakoro not to walk forward. The dust hides something. Tadakoro cannot see, but he walks some steps closer, looks down, and screams. A deep hole yawns before him. He drops to his knees. The crater stretches wide across the city, cutting deep into the earth. None of them can guess what created it. Shirasaki stares at the darkness. There is no bottom in sight. They wonder if the monsters made it. Tadakoro laughs weirdly. Then a theory forms in his mind. Something fell here, a meteor that brought the monsters with it. They are aliens, and the city has already lost. Takashiro feels a cold weight in his chest. It might be the end of the world. He touches the wristband Miku gave him and remembers the moment she handed one to him and Eiji. Eiji had complained that they should not receive the same gift. He called himself a star and insisted he was above Takashiro. Miku had tried to stop their argument, her hands shaking as she explained that she was leaving the city the next day. Tears had filled her eyes when she asked them to where. Takashiro's heart aches at the memory. None of this should be happening. Tadakoro sinks to the ground again. He has no strength left to walk. Takashiro tells him that if he believes this is the end, he can remain here. But Takashiro will not stop. He calls Shirasaki to continue until he finds Miku. He must tell her about Eiji. He moves forward. Tadakoro panics and runs after him, begging him not to leave him alone. The three continue through the silent city. They enter an empty market. Takashiro suddenly points ahead. Tachikawa Station is right in front of them. Cars pile over one another, and traffic is frozen. People abandon their vehicles in a rush. Tadakoro runs toward another street, shouting in confusion. Bodies lie everywhere. Piles of them. No rescue teams. No defense forces. Nothing. Only death and silence is here and there. Takashiro says it looks same as the minster came there. Suddenly he notices movement. Survivors run in panic. Tadakoro spots them as well and shouts for them. A man with glasses warns them to turn back because the Nig One is coming. Tadakoro and Takashiro gets amazed what big one is coming. Suddenly the growling sound spread there. Takashiro stands silent and then notices something that cast fear in their eyes. A giant monster climbs the roof of a tall building. Thick slime falls from its mouth. Its growl shakes the air. Takashiro freezes and he does not believe for an instant. Its large mouth reflects no less than a demon mouth. The monster growls such a weirdly that they cover their ears. Their eyes widen with fear. Takashiro notices it is the same monster that destroyed their school. The roar becomes louder. Tadakoro shouts in disbelief. The survivors rush past him and push him aside as they run for the south door. Tadakoro falls and he cannot get up again. Survivors hurriedly walks away. Takashiro yells at him to get up quickly. Takoro is tired and he shivers. The monster lifts one giant foot and steps from one building to another. Takashiro yells that it is heading straight toward them. Tentacles whip through the air. Buildings collapse around them. The creature towers above everything, larger than any structure in sight. And it continues forward, bringing destruction with every step. The monster has destroyed the entire city. It looks like an apocalypse. The monster lifts cars and hurls them across the streets while buildings collapse one after another. Takashiro and Shirasaki barely escape as a building falls right behind them. Takashiro leaps forward and lands on the ground. When he looks back, his eyes freeze in shock at the sight of the monster, taller than the buildings, causing destruction wherever it moves. Shirasaki urges him to head toward the south door, and Tadakoro pushes them to run faster. They must get out of the area quickly. They enter a building. At the edge of the floor, they find themselves trapped. The next section of the building has collapsed. They stand at the very edge, unsure what to do next. Suddenly, a voice calls out from the other side. A boy waves at them from a nearby building and warns them to come toward him. Surprised, the three follow his directions and reach a cinema-white building. The boy brings them inside. He says when he heard that loud noise he came this way to see what it was and he found that the building was falling. He gets stunned. Takashiro gets amazed at him. Later the man leads them down the stairs, and closes the shutter behind them. He takes them to the basement. They follow the young man and reach a spot where they get surprised to find other survivors, including an elderly couple and some young people. Takashiro is stunned to see people and among them Miku there. Miku turns, and notices recognizing him as well. Turned out it was just his imagination. A guy asks a young man who these guys are. The young man explains that he brought them inside after hearing the commotion outside. Later the boy introduces himself as Mitsuru, a gym teacher. The building had started to collapse, so he guided them quickly to the basement. An elderly woman asks about the situation outside, and Mitsuru explains that the couple owns the theater. He also inquires if the newcomers know anything about the attacks. A girl with glasses describes the shaking and the loud noises. It was large enough to be Tsukinoko. Takashiro asks about Tsukinoko. Mitsuru mentions it's a giant centipede-like creature. He also tells the girl, Nakamura was part of the university's movie club. Takashiro explains what he saw, a monster larger than a building, destroying everything in its path. Some of the survivors think he is exaggerating. An elderly woman trembles, and her husband comforts her. Mitsuru reminds the group that the basement walls are strong and meant for disasters. A boy laughs nervously, asking if they can pass by the centipede, and Takashiro explains that it moved toward the south door. They did not see any centipedes near the station. Mitsuru grows silent, and Shirasaki asks how he knows so much. Mitsuru explains that none of them knew each other before the earthquake. When it struck, everyone ran outside. He tried to reach his car but saw people being lifted and thrown by the creature's tentacles. Mitsuru got scared when he looked above a giant centipede piercing the huge building. All the people came outside the cinema gate just to wait for the earthquake to pass. Suddenly the girl, Nakamura, noticed some growling sounds. The monster was spreading chaos. People started running here and there. They were extremely scared. The monster looked into Nakamura's eyes and she was stunned. Panic spread, and people started to find a place to hide. Mitsuru noticed some people running toward the cinema. He quickly followed and went inside. People were already there, and the old woman instructed him to close the shutter, keeping everyone inside safely but frightened. Mitsuru placed the shutter and sat down to gasp. Monster growling sounds were coming inside. Mitsuru started thinking about the creature. Later he asked students about how they saw monsters. Shirasaki recounts that monsters attacked their school after the earthquake, and somehow they survived. Mitsuru realizes the attacks are happening in multiple locations, and the entire city is under siege. Tadakoro mentions the huge crater they saw, almost 100 meters wide, likely caused by a meteor that brought strange creatures. Mitsuru is shocked to hear this and believes that these three have seen much of the destruction firsthand. He invites them to stay with the group until rescue teams arrive. Tadakoro agrees, feeling some relief and deciding not to run anymore. However, Takashiro refuses to stay. Tadakoro protests, and Shirasaki looks at him with concern. Takashiro insists he must find someone. If the survivors can hide safely, perhaps she is hiding somewhere too. He must reach her quickly. Tadakoro recalls the childhood friend Takashiro spoke of earlier and cannot understand why Takashiro is risking his life. Mitsuru supports Tadakoro, suggesting that waiting seems safer. Takashiro argues that there is no guarantee this basement is completely safe. If even one monster finds this place, everyone will die. And if a monster reaches the building where Miku is hiding, she will face the same danger. He must leave immediately. Tadakoro calls him reckless, but Takashiro does not care. He says they do not have to follow him and will go alone. He says goodbye and tells Shirasaki to take care of herself. Before leaving, Shirasaki takes his phone. Takashiro hesitates but gives it to her. When she unlocks it, she freezes at the sight of Miku's picture and asks if this girl is his friend. Takashiro is startled. Shirasaki comments on Miku's beauty, and Takashiro denies she is his girlfriend, asking what she is doing with his photos. She returns the phone and steps back. Calmly, she offers to accompany him, saying they can find Miku faster together. Takashiro cannot understand her reasoning. He never asked her to come, but Shirasaki explains she survived death once already today. If Takashiro had not saved her, she would be dead. Now her life belongs to him. Takashiro is left speechless. Mitsuru intervenes, reminding everyone that, as a teacher, he cannot let the students go alone. He yells everyone should stay inside. Majima, another man, argues that the kids should be allowed to leave if they want. Another person rebukes him, saying it is unacceptable to let children die. Naka suggests that maybe nothing dangerous is active outside right now, perhaps the monsters only move at certain times, and headquarters might already be working on a plan. Majima believes it is time to check outside again. The elderly woman asks who will go outside. The old man decides he will go outside to guide the children, calming his wife. Mitsuru is shocked, but the old man reassures everyone. Listening to this they become silent for a while. Finally, Mitsuru agrees to go with them and instructs the group to stay close.